can you share your perspective on what drives and allows Alex to accomplish what he does?
I don't think Alex is doing anything different to what John Bachar was doing, or to what I was doing, or to what Alain Robert was doing. It's just another person, and in 10 years' time, there'll be another person like him doing it just the same. One of the big differences is that he televises the stuff that he does, so a lot of people see it. So if nobody sees it on television or a podcast or a YouTube thing, it's not known, is it? But if you put it on a YouTube thing of you sowing a big root, everybody's going to go, wow, what's that? And thousands of people look at it. So the more people see it, and if it becomes mainstream and it becomes a film, lots of people look at it, and it seems incredible. But for me, Peter Croft, John Bachar, stuff I did, Alain Robert in France soloed phenomenal things, phenomenal. Louis de Lazard, A.T. Prost, when he did that, it's sick. It was way ahead of its game. Nothing in America was done that hard. We were soloing a lot harder than the stuff that was done over there for a long time. But it gets forgotten about because it wasn't filmed and it wasn't photographed. So if it ain't filmed or photographed, it doesn't get the publicity. But he's doing the same. He's making a career out of it. But I personally don't think he's any different to what we were doing.
For sure. Let me ask you this question though. So, you and John Bachar, Alain Robert, and
Peter Croft.
Honnold. Peter Croft.
It was sick. It was ridiculous what he did. What a great guy. No publicity, just wandered off. You've just go, what have you done today? I've done the roster. And I love that. I love doing it and no publicity. You don't tell anybody, you just go do it. I think for me, that is the essence of it, And you can't say he did it for a photograph to get on the cover of a magazine or something like that. He didn't want any publicity, just went out there and did it. For me, a hero, what he did. Brilliant.
Yeah, there have been some interesting discussions between Honnold and Croft on their approaches, and it's kind of fascinating to hear two legends speak about that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this though. So again, in some ways climbing is still not a mainstream sport. It's not like football or tennis. And within the world of climbing, free soloing is that much more niche. And I've done a tiny bit of free soloing. I did really easy stuff. I'm talking about like 5.5s, 5.6s, way below my long routes in the Alpine. Please help us understand, what is it about you and let's say this larger band of brothers in a way? What made you push yourself in free soloing? What did you get?
I think one of the things I should say, how climbing has changed. So back in the early 80s and the late 70s, climbing was a dangerous sport. No, it was just dangerous. I didn't get the bolt for the first 2 years I went climbing. I never clipped a bolt. Everything was runners. It was felt to be a dangerous sport, and it was dangerous. So climbing without a load was just that little bit more extreme. But every time you climbed, you were looking at taking big falls, and it was scary. I think as time's evolved, one of the biggest changes that I've seen in climbing is that it is now no longer considered a dangerous sport. It's just not dangerous, and it's almost unacceptable for it to be dangerous. And the thought of people climbing up to the first bolt and hitting the ground from 10 foot, people don't do it anymore. They stick clip. They get a big stick and they clip it. Well, in my day, that was cheating. You couldn't do that. And if somebody said to you, but I don't want to fall and hit the ground, well, you said, well, that's climbing. You fall and you hit the ground. It's the same for everybody. So I think now it's just not an acceptance of there being any danger, which I'm not against that. I think that's fantastic. I think that's really good. I wouldn't want my children to that and do dangerous climbs. And it's more mainstream. It's just that the attitude has changed. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm just saying it's different. I like the attitude now, and it's great that it's a safe sport. No need to go out and risk your life and limb to say you're a climber. So I'm not saying it's one better than the other, but the thing is it's really changed, and it's not acceptable for for nearly any sports to be dangerous now. And all sports are safe, aren't they? Or a lot safer. Even Formula One, I used to watch it. People, would occasionally get killed in Formula One. Now it's become really safe. And if there's anything they think you can make it safer, they'll make it safer. So that's one of the main things that's changed. And the whole attitude to life is different.
Absolutely. And I think maybe back then the lines were not so distinct. They were more blurred between what was rope climbing, what was bouldering, what was free soloing. Like, so much of the stuff you were doing, even if it was not free soloing, it was spatially protected.
Yes.
Where even if you were tied onto a rope, one mistake or one rock crumble.
Yeah. I'd like to say, I would do a solo, and it might be the hardest solo that had ever been done in Britain, and it wouldn't even get written up in the magazines. Nothing would said. It would have no publicity. Sure. And if I did a boulder problem, and it was a new boulder problem on Whitstow, and it was the hardest boulder problem in the world, it wouldn't even have any publicity. Nothing. Because it was never publicised. It just wasn't. It was only climbing with ropes, and that was it. So there was no publicity on soloing, no publicity on bouldering. Even in the very first competitions, English magazines wouldn't publish competition results. I won some big competitions in France, and because the English climbers thought, competitions are not real climbing, they didn't publicise anything. So you had nothing. So you might win a massive competition, it would be in all the French magazines, but the English magazines wouldn't report it. So the whole thing's become very much more, I don't know, they publicise everything now, don't they? But the climbing's changed so much, it's ridiculous.